Get the damn camera right. So yes. All right, yes. Let's talk about getting to your first $1,000,000. Now, when you're talking about a number as big as this, let's say that number is too big for you to comprehend. Let's say that number is just ridiculous, okay? Let's say this is ridiculous for you, where you're at. You know, and there's the concept, if I'm breathing heavy, I'm having some lung problems right now. Just like in stocks, this whole thing is fractal, meaning, let's say you're 16 years old, then your goal is probably not 1,000,000, your goal is probably 10,000. And even this idea is not for everyone. Not everyone's motivated by money, but I'm talking about people who are. Like, you want to build some wealth, you want to accumulate some money. If that's you, you have to create a blueprint. And I have videos on this where I call it the millionaire blueprint. It's a path, it's a process that you take in life. You won't get there accidentally. And you can get there no matter what. You could be a driver for UPS, and in 17 years or less, you could get to $1,000,000. And you're not going to have to sacrifice, and you're not going to have to, like people think. Sometimes people act like to get rich is like some big sacrifice. That's just not true. It's just, what is it you're going to put your money on? Assume everybody can hear me. For me, what's up? How are you feeling about bud? For me, $1,000,000, that was my goal. And there's nothing special about that number. Let's be honest, $900,000 is a lot of money, right? So, $1,000,000 just sounds good. It rounds up, right? It's part of the fractal system. It's a 10. But, you know, a lot of you probably have 10 grand, so that's not a big deal. Now we just move the comma and we add a 0. And so maybe if $1,000,000's just too big for your brain to get behind, maybe it's 100,000. The formula is still the same, right? The formula is still the same. A couple things we got to have here to get to $1,000,000. So if our target, do 10,000. Come on, dude. Look how little that is. This is a stack. This is 10,000 bucks. This is nothing. Chump change. This one too. Like nothing. It's just a matter of, you just make one of these right here, and then instead of spending it, you just put it in a box over here. It's that simple. And you do that 100 times. You go to the bathroom 100 times, you go fishing 100 times, you do a whole bunch of shit 100 times. That's all it takes to get to 10,000 bucks. So that's not even a challenge. So we have to make it bigger than that. Hold on, let me grab my coffee. We have to make it bigger than that. Now, if some people say, why would you have so much cash? I have cash because for me, it's a mental thing. It helps me. I like to see cash. I like to hold cash. I like to count cash. Keeps me focused. I think a lot of people have a constant separation from their money. I don't do it anymore, but I used to have $100,000 in $100 bills. And I always get wise guys, ooh, you could be earning a return. That's not what that money is. That money is like safety deposit money for a worst case scenario. I don't even include it in my net worth. And if you have my book, You Don't Have to Die Broke. If you have this book, I talk about the emergency fund. For me, that's not even part of once that fund is good, you just lock it away. Every month I do it every week. I put money into my emergency fund, $50, $20, and you just do it your whole life. And maybe when you're old, you never had a big emergency and you have a big pile of money. Or coronavirus happens, right? So, the $1,000,000. A couple things we have to do to get here. People get it out of order. I get this a lot. First thing is we have to have a vehicle. We have to have a vehicle to get to where we're making money. So you have to have some way to make money, right? Seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people get this backwards. They want to go right into investing or right into buying stocks. Now, trading is different. The reason I like trading is I'm trying to actively churn and make money. With investing, it's not like that. You're not investing and then watching it every day to see how much money you made. If you're doing that, that's weird. There's times I don't even log into my buy and hold account. What's the point? If I don't have any money to add to a stock, there's no point in logging into it. The one I'm watching is my trading account, right? A lot of people get these mixed up, just like they get it out of order, how to get to $1 million. The first thing you do is you have to find a vehicle that'll allow you to make enough money that you can get some margin. Margin, just like in a business. You've heard the term profit margin? This one's bad. I'm sure you've heard the term profit margin. Well, same thing in your life. You're the CEO of you, and you need margin. Wages are fine. The money you make at your job is great. That's great. You're going to pay your bills with that. That's not going to get you rich. What's going to get you to $1 million is this. The money you don't need. See, the trick to money is having money. The trick to money is you don't need this. You know what I could do with this right here? I could go buy a house right now that would appreciate in value, that would throw me off 2 or 3 of these every month and would grow over time, right? Well, I've done that a bunch of times, so I'm already on that game. What most people do is all the things that they take this money, all this margin, and they buy a bunch of things that just go down in value. Like I just bought a new truck. That will go down in value. If I would have bought a truck, and the money that I paid cash for the truck, the money I paid on the truck, if I'd have bought a house, and then we go look 10 years later, there's $100,000 difference. So if all of your, quote, margin money is going to things like cars and things that go down, you never actually do this, right? So we have to get this curve. So first thing, we got to get a vehicle. You need a way to be making money. Most of us, me included, I needed 2 ways, times 2. I need to create multiple streams. Why? So that I had a lot of margin. You know, I wanted to have, and I know this will sound like a lot to some people, maybe nothing to some of you. I wanted $3,000 to $5,000 every month. That means a stack of these every month pushed into what'll be number 2. So first we need a vehicle to get us there, which means we're making money. So I get DMs from people like, because of Corona and this and that, you lost your job. You should be working the next day. You shouldn't be sitting home collecting unemployment, and the universe is going to punish you for that. You're not being productive. People aren't repaid that way. You need to come off of welfare, and you need to go start producing things. With the advent of the internet, it's so easy. Like, it's never been easier to make money, in my opinion, than it was harder when I was younger. It's so easy now. There's so many things you can do. You just have to start pushing your intent into the world and get out and start doing it, right? All of the money that you want is in the pockets, purses, wallets, checkbooks, and credit cards of other people. You know, some of you have your account on private. No wonder you're broke. Like, money is in other people's pockets, right? So you need to learn to effectively communicate with other people. Other people have your money. It's not some magical thing. Whatever it is you do with your time, your talent, your resources, your treasure, that comes from other people. So you need to be in constant communication. So if I check my emails today, I bet I have 100 emails with people trying to communicate with me. Hey, could I get a free book? Hey, I saw your magazine ad. Hey, could I talk to you about your rental property? Hey, could I? And it's just, I can't even respond to them. There's so many. Then there's DMs, text messages, just this constant influx of people. Well, guess what? Those people have my money. The people you're with, they have your money. So if I want to get to $1 million, you know, you start doing the math. I could sell one thing for $1 million. Well, that's not very likely, right? That's not going to happen. So if you have a vehicle, number one, a vehicle, right? So help if I can spell. You have a vehicle that's going to get you to making money, right? And we need margin, so there needs to be enough in there to where you have excess money to invest. Ideally, your first goal, at a minimum, you should be investing $1,000 a month, minimum. Doing this $100, this $100, this $200, that's all fine and dandy. but that's not going to get you to $1 million anytime soon. If you ever see a compound curve, it goes like this, right? You ever see this? And way down here on year 30, you ever see these? Way down here on year 30, it's a bunch of money, right? Well, here's what we could do. Why don't we just start over here? Yeah. See, that's what, if you're doing $1,000 versus the guy doing 100, you're moving up the curve 10 times faster than he is. What if you do 3,000 a month? You're moving up the curve. Look how fast you're jumping years. So this guy's saving $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year, and you're doing 3,000 a month. You're going 30 times faster than this guy up the compound curve. You get it? So that's what I figured out. The compound curve is there to show you what's possible, but you got to get the base up. So this is why I talk about 7 to 10 years. 7 to 10 years where you're a lunatic, if you want to get to this number. Now your number may be smaller, maybe your number's 10,000. The concept's the same. So we have to have a vehicle to earn money, and I had to have 2 jobs, 2 ways, right? Right now I make money 3 ways. So I can't see how people do it one way. I just don't see, unless you have a really high paying job. And let's say you don't have a high paying job, but you don't have time for another job. I would get a different job. You're going to spend most of your life at a job. Why would you do a job that isn't going to get you here if that's where you're trying to get to? I don't understand why you would have that job. I would go get a different one or a second one. Make it something you enjoy doing. This gets a lot easier. So a lot of times my friends or people I know say, well, I don't want to work all the time. Well, I'm not working. Like the things that I do to make extra money are fun. Like to me, I think they're fun. I think it's fun to work on rental properties. I think it's fun to trade stocks. I think it's fun to write books, to market, to put stuff. I think all that stuff is fun. So I used to mow yards. I enjoyed mowing yards. I would do something to make money. Now we got a vehicle to make money. Number 2, we need a vehicle to compound it. To compound it. You need to compound your money. How are you going to compound your money? This is super important. A couple ways you can do that. Well, really, there's really 3 ways. 1, you could buy or start or own a business. Like you could put money that you make at work and put it into a business or someone else's business. This could be tricky. This is not as easy as other people. My man said he's looking for partners as he speaks. Starting a biz is the fastest. If you've ever read, what's his name? His book's called Fast Lane. He talks about, he's against compounding. Okay, well, he's wrong on that. He is right on the idea that owning a business is the fastest way. The reason it's the fastest way is a couple reasons. 1 is you're under a different tax code. People in business get to keep their money, where if you're an employee, they take the taxes right out of your check, right? So that gives business a little bit of leeway. 2, businesses get to write off all kinds of shit that you pay for. Cell phones, books, boards. Mostly everything in my life is a write-off, except food, and some food is too. So the businesses have a separate tax code, as do investors. And it's unfair. It's really a rigged system against employees, in my opinion. Let's turn this a little bit. So 1 is a business. 2 is real estate. Obviously, right? You can invest in real estate. This is the order of speed. Now, obviously, you could go out of business here. The fastest and safest, in my opinion, is real estate. There's very little risk. A lot of times people think there's risk. I meet a lot of young couples. You're in your 20s. Maybe you're 28, 29, 30. Just got married. You got 20, 30, you got 20 grand saved right here. And you're holding on to this like it's a lot of money. It's just pieces of paper. It's not a lot of money. You want to take that money and put it into a house. And here's what you need to understand. When I give them this money, when I say, here, Mr. Bank, can I have the keys to this house? This money is now here. You didn't lose it. It's still there. It didn't go anywhere. It transferred from cash to equity. Equity appreciates in value and it produces cash flow. And it's leveraged. So when you take this 20,000 to buy a house, they give you a $100,000 asset. Think on that for a second. Every time I hand them 20, they hand me 100. 20, 100. 20, 100. 20, see the math? Do you see what's happening here? So when this house goes up 5% a year, it's not on my 20, it's on the 100. So what is that? $5,000. So every time I make this $20,000 exchange, I get an additional $5,000 added to my net worth every year. This begins to accelerate this process, and if we're looking at the curve, the compound curve, look how fast you start to go down this curve when you begin to do real estate. Now we're getting a lot of shit on here. So, I love the millionaire code, man. Bro, I'm telling you, if you get your mind around what I'm talking about here, it's mind-boggling. And number 3, and the easiest, is just stocks. And I like stocks. I like stocks. They can be up and down. You know, people always say, well, I like my real estate because it doesn't go up and down. Yes, it does. You just don't see it. It's just not priced every day. If houses sold on a public exchange, they would go up and down, right? Every time the wind blew, these things would go up and down. And it does go up and down. If you go price the price of nails and drywall and blah, 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 house prices go up and down with insurance and property taxes. Mostly they go up, the cost. Stocks are cool because they do go down, and what stocks give you, and this is why I like stocks, is they get mispriced, meaning stupid people own them. The dumbest people in the world own stocks. They do. They're really dumb. And based on a tweet or a news or some other dumb shit, they will sell these. And they will take them to ridiculous prices. I wish they did that with houses. I wish I could wake up and everyone put their house up for sale and drove the price down. I wish that would happen. But in stocks, that happens every day. So me, as a guy who's a value investor who likes to buy income, that makes me excited. I know it scares a lot of you, but it makes me happy. I like the fact that stocks go down. I love it. So the smartest people in the world are running businesses or working for businesses. Now I'm excluding doctors, lawyers, nurses, engineers. Your high-end, these are high-end skills. I'm talking about the rest of us are blue-collar type folks. If you're like me and you don't have college, your fastest path to $1 million is by owning a business, taking the profits from the business, and this is where people drop off, pushing it into real estate. Take the profits from real estate and push it into stocks. I call that the push. And that's how I got to $1 million in 8.2 years. I had a vehicle that made me a lot of money, and I lived on very little for 7 to 10 years. I lived on basically nothing. I lived on like $3,000 a month, but I was making like $10,000 a month, which gave me $5,000 to $7,000 every month to take from my business and to push it into real estate, which means every 5 or 6 months I would have $20,000. I would go in, hello, Mr. Banker, can I give you my money? And Mr. Banker would say, yeah, Joe, here's the keys to a house. And this house would appreciate and throw me off a couple of these every month. And then I would take that money and I would push that money to stocks. And I would do that every day, day in, day out, day in, day out. This is all automated. This is what you got to focus on. So when I say people get it out of whack, is they spend all their time looking for stocks and trying to figure out real estate, but you ain't got no money. See, they've got ahead of the curve. So I meet guys and they're like 23, oh, I want to get involved in real estate. I'm like, cool, well, how much money do you make? Not much. Well, you don't get to play that game. It's not how it works. So they get the buckets out of order. And if you have my book, You Don't Have to Die Broke, what's the order? First, you create a well. That goes to your necessities, which goes to your savings. We don't even get to investing till over here. This is what most people do. They have a well where they make money. This is your job, your business, your job, your business, right? And they stay here. And then over here they got loans because you guys are smart. You think you're super smart, so you carry your point rewards and your car payments. And I'd love for you to add all of that up and then multiply that times a 10% compounding dividends. Watch what happens in 10 years if you didn't have all those stupid loans and interest payments. So Every dollar you pay in interest just makes someone like me richer. Unless you're getting cash flow on that, it makes no sense at all, man. If you can avoid it the best of your ability. Now, get it, there's circumstances in life, but this is the necessities. Now, here's what most people are going to do. You're going to want to start investing. You see people like me posting. You see people like me, or people like the Grant Cardones, and the, you know, people are posting the nice cars and the houses, and they say they got it from real estate or business or investing, and they did. They did. But what Grant leaves out, and I love Grant, don't misunderstand me, but what Mr. Cardone leaves out is that Mr. Cardone made millions of dollars selling things. He sold books, courses, training, and then he lived on very little, because you don't need to live on much when you make $1 million, right? He had an adequate savings. The reason for the savings is when coronavirus strikes, and stocks go down, you're not the dipshit selling your stocks. So when he got to the investing bucket, he has no debt. He has adequate savings. He now has tons of money to start investing in houses, right? In stocks, in businesses, other people's businesses, private businesses. And so all of this becomes automated because he's focused on number one, his business, his job, you know, whatever you want to call it, and making money. And then he creates multiple wells. He's got a car selling service. He's got a thing on how to buy real estate. He's got a thing on, you know, how to do stuff with social media. He's got a program on personal coaching. He's got a thing on Cardone Capital. And all of these circles are bringing money to the mothership, right? That he can push through the funnel. But what most people do is you don't see it like this. You're not seeing this big map. You're seeing, I go to work and make money. I pay my bills. What's left, I push into investments. That's not how rich people look at it. That's not how I look at it. For me, it's a strategic battle plan. Like there's a flow to all of this. But I'm trying to get to this with one more zero. I'm trying to get to 10 million. Now, if you'd asked me 20 years ago, it's unconceivable. I mean, I wouldn't even been able to imagine it. You know, it wasn't 16 years ago. I was mowing yards, sweating my ass off just to get through the day. But what allowed me was working this blueprint, this pattern. So let's say you don't have a job right now, you're not working. You have zero chance. Zero. If your goal is $1 million. You know, you're a guy with a kid, a wife, a family, that kind of thing. Business. If you don't have college, if you're not into college, if let's say you're like me and you don't have a college degree, you don't have some job that's a high paying job, you know, you don't have a job that can make you $50 an hour. You've got to go into business. So you're going to have a job, a primary job. Now sometimes people will be like, well, I don't want a job. I don't want to, you know, be caught in the rat race or whatever they call it. You need a job. Like you need money coming in all the time. You don't get to just skip the job thing unless you have some talents. Because and I've watched people do this and they get into their 30s and they're still doing these harebrained business ideas. And all this time they've never laid any foundation, you know. They end up with a bunch of debt because they're trying business ideas. You should never, ever, ever borrow money for business. Ever. Ever. I don't know how to make that any clearer. Unless that's real estate. You should never borrow. And what scares me is I've watched all these small business loans and all these people. You know, so you know what that means? Next year, if things are good and you're back in business, you now make less money because you owe the government. All coronavirus did was expose how weak even myself. It exposed what little we actually had to prepare ourselves, like in the form of savings. So long before you start investing, these are your priority. You got to maximize the job. And I don't even think you should be looking for a second job or a side hustle until you maximize this. Are you working overtime? Because many people, just working overtime would be more money than they'd make in a side hustle. Like if you have the ability to work overtime, you should work overtime. And knock out these debts, all these dumb debts you have. In addition to just the dumb debts, you need to ask yourself why you even have them. The reason you have them is you were living above your means, which means your brain's fucked up. Like you're not on this path. Because a guy on this path, he's not borrowing money for furniture. A guy on this path will sleep on the floor. A guy who's on this path, he's not borrowing money for cars if he doesn't have 10 or 15 houses or a vehicle to get there. Now, whenever I say that about borrow money for cars, a guy who's worth $3 million will DM me and go, well, I lease mine and I write it off. Yeah, no shit, you have $3 million. But when you make $22,000 a year and you have a $500 car payment, you will never, ever, ever get to $1 million. Your life isn't set up properly. It's impossible because this number's too big. When you're paying $500 a month for a car payment, how are you going to get to where you're investing the minimum of $1,000? You're never going to get there. So we have to get this number. So priority isn't investing. You don't even need to sit around reading about stocks until you have the money coming in. So the job's got to be improved. That may mean going to college. That may mean getting technical skills. That may be launching a business. For me, it was launching a business because I'm just a terrible student. And then I created side hustles. And I went to the internet early. I was doing email marketing, AdSense, selling shit on Amazon, anything I could do to make money, dude. If you watch me, watch my story. When a lot of you guys are relaxing at home watching it, what am I doing? Working. Why? Because I'm trying to get to 10. I can't get to 10 relaxing. I got shit to do. But that may not be your goal. Your goal may be 100. 100's a fine goal. That should be your first goal. You need to get to $100,000. And there's no way on God's green earth you should have a car payment and you don't have $100,000. If you do, you're living wrong, bro. You're living wrong. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Again, the system is fractal. So this is the cool thing, right? And that's what my free ebook does for you. Is really break down that bucket system. It's super important for you to get that in your mind. Because the worst thing you can do, and the smarter you are, the harder it is to apply this, trust me. Because I meet all kinds of people, they're trying to become an MD, or they're being a lawyer or an engineer, and you get out of college and you got $100,000 in student loans. Not insurmountable, right? You just need 5 of these stacks. No big deal. What's the big deal? Right? It's not that big a deal. It seems like a big deal, but if you lived on $3,000 a month, what are we talking about? 2.5 years, 3 years, you pay this off, working part-time, selling shit on eBay, hustling, getting up, going to garage sales, finding things to flip like our friend Gary Vee. Like if you commit to this, or your partner, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, they need to be committed to it too. Your first goal is to eliminate this, not start investing in stocks. You could owe on this and be spending all this time investing in stocks, and then we have a 5-year bear market that takes your investments from the $50,000 you saved down to $20,000, and it just stays down here for years and years and years while you're still carrying this big ass debt. Where if you'd have got rid of this when this happened, you'd have started buying down here. You see what I'm saying? The cycle could fall in such a way where you really mess yourself up, or then you lose your job. You still have this massive debt. And then what's going to happen? So there's logical reasons for it. The problem is everyone feels special, and people don't think that rules apply to them. Like, I'm not going to get corona, other people are going to get it, right? That's not going to happen to me. But it does. It happens to lots of people. So here's the other thing too, something to keep in mind people don't think about. You need term insurance, not whole life, term. If you don't have $1 million and you have people that depend on you, you should do term, not whole life, term insurance while you're working on the buckets, your job, the bucket system. But investing is last, man. Now that's not trading, I'm talking investing. I think everyone should try it. Trading is a way to actually make some money if you're good at it. But one of the biggest problems I have with traders is they're half-ass investors, half-ass traders. Or they've read so many books that they have all this different stuff going on in their mind. They're selling too quick, they're getting out too soon, like they're just all over the place, man. That's it, man. You need a vehicle. You got to get a vehicle. Let's turn these around. What's going on? Anybody working on that $1 million? Oh, YouTube won't let me. There we go. Is anybody trying that path, man? See, I didn't get going on that till I was 29 years old when I got hooked on that concept of doing this millionaire math. I still do it, man. That's the reason I write books about it, is I'm still trying to get, say it to get it. Vehicle's number one. Find a vehicle. For me, it was a lot of things, man. I've done a lot of shit over the years. I was involved in network marketing. I've done direct mail. I've run a lawn care business. Most of the stuff I do is just think, what can I do with where I'm at with what I'm doing? Like, what can I do right now? Like my man here that's 21 years old. Here's the biggest problem he's going to have is he's young, right? So when you're young, you're going to party a lot. Nothing wrong with that. But the faster you start locking down. Like, he's 21. His biggest problem is going to be he's going to have debt. He's going to have a high statistical odds he's going to hook up with someone he shouldn't hook up with. That's what kills most people. Death obviously kills the plan. Divorce. Most people hook up with the wrong people. It costs them money. Divorce. He's an MD with $200,000 in debt. I would just attack that debt. And here's the problem with being an MD is you're going to be around a lot of people with a lot of money. Doctors are the worst at this, man. Doctors and lawyers are horrific with money because you're smart. Like, to become a doctor, you have to be smart. And the smarter people are with money, they start scheming, and they start thinking of things, and they feel like they're smarter than their situation. And so they just push it off, man. They don't attack it. They end up being 35-year-old doctors still owing on debt. And then by the time they pay theirs off, they're sending their kids to college. And then they look back and then, got the nice house because you're making good money. You got a nice car because you're making. I would spend the first 10 years as a doctor just living like a college kid. We live so long. People get it confused. Like, I get a lot of people that are 50 that email me and they're 50 and they're like, oh, I know I'm starting late. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to turn 2 into 10. That's a long ways, right? 3 into 10. That's a long distance. That's 7 mil. And I'm 50. Like, I feel like I'm just starting, dude. I've just started this. So the idea that you're 50 and behind, you're just 50 and been fucking lazy. Like, you need to say what it is and stop, making, they'll say it like it's an excuse. It's no excuses, man. Just say, listen, I have not, you ever been to an AA meeting? Hi, my name is so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic. You just need to say what you are. Hey, I have completely ignored my money. And don't find any reason for an excuse. It wasn't your kids. It wasn't your husband. It wasn't this. Anything you're going to say that caused you not to get on board, you just ignored it. And now you acknowledge it. So unignore it and now get on top of it, right? That's it, man. I'm telling you. Like, you just get on it and you'll be shocked what you can do in a couple years. My man says he made his first mill at 29. Yeah, first mill's the hardest. And then you'll run into the problem of, once you get a little bit of money, this is a common problem for a lot of people. They want to protect it. It's like, oh shit, that was hard. Now I got to protect it. This is the beautiful thing about real estate. Real estate protects it and it keeps giving you money. So if you mess up this month, let's say you got 5 or 10,000 coming in every month from real estate. A lot of people think, oh, I just quit my job. No, that's the worst thing to do. All these people, I want to go full-time real estate. Are you dumb? No. Now you have the option to go do other things for money. You don't just live on the real estate. Nobody I know does that. Nobody I know lives just on the, very few people. Let me rephrase that. Go look at Rick at Old School Real Estate. That dude still builds houses, flips houses. He works. He runs a business. Lets the real estate grow. That's how you get rich, when you don't need money. The reason you don't need the money is because you're doing other things to pay your bills, so these investments begin to grow exponentially. Nobody goes full. The only people thinking full-time real estate are people that don't own any real estate. Because everyone I know that owns real estate do other things. They're all doing something. Why do you think they wholesale properties? They need to make cash to pay their bills, because real estate, you may have, like, some months I'll make $7,000 profit, and the next month could have a negative 3,000 month. It's one reason I work on properties is because it lowers my overall budget. So if I paint a house, I save $6,000. I got something, I got to do something anyway, right? I like doing it. So I work on a house, I listen to an audio book, I knock out two birds with one stone. I'm educating myself while working. I can take sales calls from customers. I can think, I can take, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, you know, being patient. You should be patiently impatient is what I call it. You have to play the long game while simultaneously playing the short game. Patience is an interesting thing. Some things you got to be patient, and then other things you don't want to be patient, right? So I call it patiently impatient, which I know can sound confusing. It's kind of like being completely content. Like, I'm content. If I die today, cool. I had a great run. But I want so much more. Like, I'm absolutely content and I want so much more. At the same time, like, how can you do that? Well, I'm patient. I'm patient with the long game, like my stocks. I mean, you know, they go down today, cool. Shit, they go down 50%, cool. But I'm impatient on a day-to-day basis as I'm in there trading and doing things. So if you're impatient, ask yourself, do your actions match your impatience? In other words, like, if you're like, man, I'm super impatient, I want to get rich right now. Well, were you up at 4 a.m. doing that? Because if you're up every day at 5, 6 a.m. trying to make that happen, you're doing this, you're doing that, like, you're doing things, then your actions are backing up your impatience. A lot of people are impatient, and when I start talking to them, they're not doing any actions to get anywhere. Like, if you're super impatient, your ass should be out there working for free. How do you grow your landscape business? I'll tell you how I did it. I went door to door. I would just drive around town. Every day I would commit like 1 or 2 hours to just, hey, how you doing? My name's Gerald Peters. I have a little lawn care business here. I see your yard's kind of high. Oh, no? Okay, thanks. And then I leave a flyer. If nobody answers, I leave a flyer on their door. Every day I would do it for 1 hour, every day, 5 days a week, every day, door after door after door. Most people won't do that. If you do that, you will, why don't I trade Forex? Because you're gonna go broke. No, Forex is a lot harder to trade than stocks, and I'm busy, man. Stocks are easier to trade. I got my hands full trading stocks and doing real estate, man, and writing books. You're 26 with 6 kids. I mean, if this is true, you don't have the luxury of work-life balance, bro. Your ass needs to be working, and your kid's just gonna have to deal with it. A business license? No, I wouldn't get a business license. I wouldn't even think about a license until somebody arrested me for it. Forex is hard, dude. Plus, too, the way I trade, I mean, all the respect in the world if somebody can trade Forex, very few people can. Very, very few people can. Very few people can trade stocks. But no, I'm not into this ask permission thing. I know a lot of people, like, because I get this a lot with real estate. They're like, do I need an LLC or a corporation? For what? Just go buy a damn house. Like, there's all these things that they think they need. You don't. You just need this. All you need is money. And walk into the bank and say, hey, Mr. Banker, could I give you this? I need to buy this house over here. And you need a good credit score. That's it. You don't need an accountant. You don't need a lawyer. And those 6 kids, I would have their ass at work painting on a house. That's just me, man. You see how I work. I've worked the same way I work ever since my kid was born. My kid busts his ass and works every day because he sees me doing that. That's what's expected of everyone around me. I expect everyone around me to work and earn or go somewhere else. But I don't have a lot of friends, so maybe I'm not the one to take advice from on that. Very cool. This dude's name. God damn, got some long ass names. Some of these guys from India with their names. I would just make up a name, Mr. Smith. Uh, Tips for 18-year-olds doing stocks right now, but I want to know what you think. I think that's cool. I think you should be trading stocks and not investing in stocks. Um, my books just hit my bio link. 18, man. It's tough. Problem is, at 18, you got a lizard brain. Your brain isn't fully developed, man, so it's hard to. We're all. Mel says you're all my friends. Yeah, it's probably true. I got more friends online than offline. Man, honestly, the best thing for you, dude, is to avoid debt. If you could just avoid debt on anything, just don't take on debt, man. No debt. Anybody tells you to, just punch them right in the face. If it's your dad, punch him. If it's your mom, don't punch her. But girlfriend, get a new one. Like, no matter what, do not take on debt and work. That's it, man. Work. If I was 18 and starting over, see, I disagree with the, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not that, it depends on the kid. I disagree with young people opening retirement accounts. Here's why. Biggest money that he can make is owning a business. You can start a business and in 1 year make $1 million. There's no job that you can do where you make $1 million. But he could have a business idea. He could launch a product that he sells on Instagram, YouTube, and Amazon. He could start a lawn care business. Like for $5,000, instead of putting it in a Roth IRA, he could launch a business or buy an apartment building. So I don't like the idea of young people doing Roth accounts. I think it's in all that stuff. I think it's a bad idea. You know how many, I met so many people, they're 23, 24, and they want to get into real estate, but all their money's in retirement. You know? So me, by the time I opened before I started a SEP IRA and an IRA account, I had $100,000 in cash and I owned 5 rental properties. Then I started investing tax-free. And I already had a successful business going. Like, I think your focus is not on investing. Remember I talked about that. This is the order. Job, which this is income, necessities, and savings. Before you start investing, you need to have the income, the necessities, and the savings. People get it out of line, man. And I know why people say it, because of the power of compounding. Believe me, I understand. But then a lot of times they miss out on making the big money because their money's tied up. What happened to my lawn care business? I bought a bunch of houses, didn't need to do it anymore. No, I got better and better at trading stocks. I did some marketing stuff. I've sold a lot of books. Like, I've written other books besides these books that I have on here. I sold a lot of books. I did a lot of affiliate marketing. A lot of the things, here's the problem when you talk to a guy my age, I'm 50. So the things that I did at 30, they don't work anymore. It's not that they don't work, just we don't do them. Like, I made a ton of money on in email marketing when email was first starting. Could you make a lot of money right now in email marketing? I think so. I think you could. God, if you could just find something to sell, man. If you could find something to sell. Everyone should be selling something. You should have something in your life you're selling, Something you're selling. All the time. I think sales is super important. Everyone that you see is super rich sells something. All the guys you like on YouTube are selling something. All the traders you like are selling something. Most of the real estate guys are selling something. You want to be selling something. If you're a chiropractor, okay, in addition to people coming to see you for that, you should have a line of supplements in there. You should have, you should be selling packages of it. If you're a dry cleaners, I would be trying to get them on subscription. And then I would be trying to get everyone's text numbers. You ever see, I'm like, hey, let me text you. Why? Because if I got 2,000 people on a text, then I can sell them something. Or if I have 1,000, 2,000 people on an email list, I can sell them something, right? So you should always be in the process of selling something. Sales is the key, man. If you have a lawn care business, you should be trying to sell something else. What can a nurse sell? Well, I could right off the top of my head, how many young girls, 18, 19, I say girls, it's pretty chauvinist. How many men and women want to be nurses? So if I wanted to be a nurse, how do I find out about that? I could go to Google, or I could listen to the idiots at my school, right? Or what if an actual nurse sold me something? What if an actual nurse said, hey, I've got a PDF, it's like 20 pages, it'll tell you exactly how to become a nurse. Matter of fact, I've already looked at it and I know all the bad things. Don't spend money on this. Don't go to this school. Here's the 5 cheapest nursing schools in the country that'll give you qualification. Here's some 20 places that'll maybe give you a loan or a grant. Here's how to manage debt if you got it. And like, dude, just give me a set. Like, we can sit down. You just, like he said, 1,000 true fans, man. If you're a nurse, if I was a nurse, I could make $1 million being a nurse. If I ran a nursery like my friend here, why? Because on my site, I would have an ebook on taking care of your yard. Matter of fact, I'd probably create some products that I could send to you about taking care of your yard. I would show you like lawnmower maintenance things, tips on there. I would have that on my Instagram. I'd be posting that on YouTube. I would have a podcast around it. Like, this shit is so simple that everyone should be making. Because, dude, if I'm gonna go seriously, like if I was gonna go look up lawns, I'm gonna go to Google and I'm gonna type it in, and the first 10 options are all bullshit. People just, I don't even know, trying to sell me some bullshit. But if I look over and it goes, huh, this guy actually owns a lawn care business. So I click over to your thing and you're like, hey, get my PDF on the 10 ways to take care of your lawn in the winter, whatever. Cool, I get it. There's a guy that I follow who does grilling, outdoor grilling. And I have a smoker. And when I got into smokers, I started looking up smoking. Well, this guy has videos on smoking. He has YouTube on smoking. He sends out tweets on smoke. And he sends out recipes. And I follow him. And guess what he back ends to me? The seasonings. And the guy makes like $60,000 a year selling seasoning from his house. You get what I'm saying? This shit's so easy, man. It's so easy. But the problem is it just takes time. It takes time. And you can't have your account on private. That blows my mind. Broke people on private. Like, it's so easy, man. You can do it on anything. How often do you go on holiday? I'm on holiday, bro. This is a big advantage that I have over normal humans. I don't need breaks. I'm on a break. I don't have a job. Like, what am I going to take a break from? My own life? Like, I like my life. Like, I like what I do. You get what I'm saying? Honestly, for me, when I go on vacation, I'm fucking irritated because I don't get to do what I want to do. Like, if I wanted to be on vacation, I'd be living in Florida. But that's a different kind of mindset. Gary Vee talks about this, like people hustling. I'm not hustling, I'm just doing what I do. So the first thing I do when I wake up, I check the market. Why? I love stocks. I love it. I love stocks. So I have people who will say to me, oh, I just missed it. Yeah, because you don't like it. Because I can't miss it. The first thing my body does is grab my phone and say, where's the Dow? Where's oil? Where's gold? Where are bonds? That's the first thought that comes into my mind when I wake up in the morning, right? It isn't, where could we go on vacation? So if you took me on vacation, here's what I'm going to do. Within one day, I'm going to be looking around going, well, how much does that house cost? And I'm going to be going and getting all the little real estate booklets. And then I'm going to be looking. And if you leave me alone wrong, I'll probably be on the phone talking to a realtor. I like the beach. It's awesome. But when I'm there, I'm thinking about, I'd like to own that business or buy this, or, we could expand this, or I could do that. Like, my brain it's just the way it works, man. So that gives me an unfair advantage. So like, even with stocks, like people get all weirded out, like the stock's going down. I like it. I like fucking losing in stocks. Like, oh, we get the chance to play this game a little bit cheaper. Okay, cool. But also, I'm not operating on limited money, right? I'm constantly putting money into my account. So I don't know, man. Yeah, leather goods are easy. Like I think you could sell those, man. You just got people. You just got to get more charismatic in your selling. Here's the biggest problem. Here's the biggest thing that I see. He said he ended up buying land in Ecuador, right? And if you, I mean, hey, like some people like vacation. I get it. I'm not knocking vacations. I'm just telling you myself personally. Uh, when you switch your hobbies to things that make money, I mean, making money gets a lot easier. You know, it really does. Oh, the biggest thing I see people do, in my opinion, if you're trying to make money or do a business online in some fashion or another, is they don't do any like talking content. They just post still pictures, and you go look at their story, and it's just a picture, and there's no communication. People, there's multiple senses here. People hear you, people see you, right? So when they can hear you and see you, and uh, uh, here's another one, physically touch you, like through extension of through a physical book. It's one reason, if you ever notice, sometimes I get people who give me advice. They'll say, "Oh, you should automate this, or you should do." Okay, you do that. If a guy wants my book, he's got to DM me and go, "Hey, Gerald, could I have your book?" Why? We just touched. That guy physically or gal physically just talked to me. They had to stop what they were doing and communicate with me. So I got them to go to my thing, click on it, come down, and ask for it. And now I personally responded and sent it to them. Now we have a communication. They've seen a video, they've heard me, they've talked to me, they've reached out, and I've emailed them. You see the relationship we just started building? Now, if they read this and like me, do you think they trust me? We've just spoken 3 times before I even gave them the free book. 3 points of contact. So, yeah, you could automate it. A lot of young people want to automate everything. They want to automate before they deserve to automate. Like you haven't put in the work, man. The more hands-on you can be, the better. Do I send the book to India? The shipping's going to kill you, bro. You'd be better off just, my friend on YouTube said, do you send it to India? You'd be better off just buying the ebook and just printing it, man. I have a little over 100K, need to talk to you one-on-one. I have no problems paying for your time. Just hit me up, man, but I can't give personal financial advice. Let's see. Just DM me on the IG. What are you thinking about woodworking as a side hustle? Yeah, I like it, bro. Whatever you're doing as a side hustle, if you want to try to communicate through the internet, which I don't know why you wouldn't, is start documenting it. Videos. Like, let people see. And don't be overly concerned with how many likes you get or how many people click on it. Dude, the stuff that I put out, that's the single most important stuff that could actually make people money, that could actually change their life, gets like goose eggs on the likes. If I put a picture out of a farting cat or me just doing some dumb shit, that'll get 1,000 to 2,000 likes. Or a notebook. I put a notebook out, it gets 4,000 likes. I put out a stock pic on a stock that's undervalued by 40% and it gets no likes. So you can't read into, don't try to make your content to what gets the most likes, or soon you'll just be taking pictures of your butt. That's all you'll be doing. So just put out yours, and guess what? You'll find that 1,000 true fans, What was your biggest mistake you made along the way you have learned from? Whoa, man. A lot of them. Biggest mistake, man. Biggest mistake. My man said the weight loss guy. It shocks me how many people that I see on their Instagram, they say they're fitness guys, or they hit me up, they are fitness gurus because I take pictures of me in the gym, and they want to help me, and I say, cool, send me your book. Crickets. Crickets. Like, I don't know how you're doing fitness and you're a personal trainer and I can't go to your thing and click it and there's not a 12 or 15 page free ebook of 20-minute workout for guys over 50. Hello, I would like that. So if you sent me an ebook that said here's a 20-minute workout for busy rich dudes over 50. Here's a workout for women that are, stay-at-home moms. 15 minutes will work your whole body. And these aren't free ebooks on your thing that then ultimately lead to you getting customers. I don't know, man. Most people don't want to do business. They say they're doing business, or they're a realtor. You know how many realtors are the worst? Absolute worst business people on planet Earth. Like, you go to their thing and it just points you to a beauty page. Nobody cares what you look like. You should have a PDF that says 12 steps to buying a house with me. And I go and get it, and then it says step 1, have you checked your credit? If not, here's 2 places you can check your credit. Step 2, do you have it down? Let's discuss whether you should put 5% down or 20%. And there's a little checklist that it takes you through, and anybody who wants to do business with you could click on it and go, wow, this realtor. And at the end it says, hey, give me a call. Let's do. But they don't do it. They don't put out shit. Loan officers. I can just go down the list of people who they're not utilizing. And they're like, I'd like to make more money. And then you go look at, they're not doing anything online to make more money, man. It's crazy to me. My man said the training, easiest is to go to Instagram. But if I'm on YouTube right now. If you click my link up there, it'll take you to it, bro. I used to teach on this stuff on marketing. I don't even do half the stuff I should do. Like, I half-ass do it because I'm busy. But if I was 22 years old trying to sell real estate, that's all I would be doing, man. It's a penny stock. Creativity is a big one. And let's say you're not creative. Let's say you're not creative. Go steal someone else's. Shit, people clip me all the time. People clip my stuff all the time. It's called a swap file in marketing. If you're a professional marketer, it's called a swap file. Swap file. Why is everybody worried about ANIP? So I sold half of ANIP yesterday. We're down to a half position now. I'm going to ride the rest. Okay? I'm going to ride the rest. If it breaks that other support, I'll sell another half. And when I say steal, I mean, obviously you want to change it. You know how I wrote my first book? I took a book that I liked that was talking about the same subject, and I rewrote it. And whenever he said the word awesome, I changed it to amazing. And when he said the most blah, 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 I changed it to blah, 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 blah. And when he said his business name, I said my business name. And I went word for word through the whole damn book. And then I threw his to the side, and then I went back and rewrote it. And then I came back and rewrote it. And by the time I got to the 5th edition, it was a brand new book. That's how I did it. How do you think guys write songs? They learn songs, and they learn songs, and they learn songs, and then they write their own. Thoughts on getting a real estate license? Sounds like a terrible idea. I would go make money. Unless you have some reason to believe that you're going to be able to sell a lot of real estate. Copy and paste. You could, but no, don't copy and paste, man. Write that shit out. Type it, because as you're typing it, you can change things. Well, to be fair, I'm going to be honest with you. I like Gary Vee. I listen to him every day, but Gary stole the shit from Jesus. Everything Gary talks about is right out of the Bible, dude. He ain't fooling me. I can quote the verses. Gary clipped all that stuff from Jesus. It's better to give than to receive. Give, right hook. All that shit came from Jesus, man. Right out of the Bible. He did, man. He clipped that stuff. He didn't make any of that shit up. All that stuff was taught to me in Sunday school, man. It's a basic universal principle. It's right out of The Secret, or the Science of Getting Rich. But you're right, people do clip Gary a lot, man. And even if you're not religious, Jesus has a lot of good ideas. All right, guys, I got to get to work. You guys be good. Get on that path, man. If $1 million's too big, just drop a 0. If that's too big, drop another 0. Be good. All right, YouTube, we got rid of those weirdos from Instagram. A lot of weirdos on Instagram. Let's share that to the story. Appreciate that. I like talking stocks, but if you do it every day, because it's not the only thing I do. Stocks are just part of my day. Is 100K in the total stock market VU okay, or should I add more indexes and ETFs? I like it. There's going to be people that tell you, I mean, if you wanted to add something, you might add bonds, the TLT. If this is truly a long-term play here, you go look at the TLT right now. It's going up. Why? Because the market's going down. So when the market goes down, the TLT will go up. So, you know, when they talk about a percentage in bonds, I consider real estate bonds. So I don't really have bonds in my portfolio because I kind of consider real estate bonds. So if you had a paid for house, I don't think you need bonds. You ain't got a mortgage and the market goes down, you're okay, right? You don't have to panic. The whole point of the bonds is to offset the loss. If you have other ways of offsetting the loss, like you're not panicked because of the loss, because those bonds will bring down your return as the market goes up, the bonds go down, right? So what they'll typically do is once they spread, you have a moment where you do a rebalancing, and then it'll happen again, and you rebalance, and it'll happen again. And as long as this is a long-term game, it works fine, man. It works fine. Just don't confuse that with trading. You know, my best analogy is trading is like flipping houses. That's not the game that I play in houses. The game I play in houses is buy ugly houses like Xerox, Exxon, stocks that are undervalued. I buy them, I hold them, I accumulate shares over time so that I can sell it at $26. You know, people get it weird in the stock market because every day the market's repriced, and so they think they have to react to the price. So one of my picks, ANIP is down, or Exxon, Xerox is down. You don't have to respond to that. Like, that could be an opportunity to buy more. I mean, or maybe we do. It just depends on what your trading strategy was when you bought the stock. Is there a certain percentage of your portfolio that should be hedged? Good question. The only way I think you can really answer that question is to look at your entire structure. You know, a guy that's just focused on stocks is going to be like, you know, based on your age, they're going to give you a percentage of bonds to your. That isn't necessarily correct if you have a very profitable business. Let's say you owned, you know, 5 dry cleaners, or you own an apartment building. Like, that to me changes the conversation on how we handle our stocks. If you're the kind of guy that sits on $100,000 in your checking at all times, it's there no matter what. You invest above that, right? You have 100 in checking, and anything above it, you put in the market. Anything above you're always sitting on that. To me, that changes the conversation. Versus a guy who has no money in checking, you're pushing all your money in the stocks, and you're a car salesman. Like, that's a different portfolio than the other guy. And so, you know, taking all of that into consideration. It's really tough when you start looking at guys that are like billionaires and they're giving you investment advice. You know, it's kind of weird. The guy's, he's old, he's at a different place in life. The way, you know, Charlie Munger invests, not necessarily a way an 18-year-old should be investing. Charlie Munger's not going to have money in Roku. You're 18 years old. You know all about Snapchat, Roku, Facebook, Twitter. You probably should have money in that stuff. It makes sense. So it just depends on your place in life, how much money you're making, how much money you're investing. Also, your sophistication level. If you don't know a lot, keep it simple. Just like he said, the VOO, find fund. You know, take 3 or 4 funds and just push your money in there. Whichever one's on sale that month, put your money in that one. Like, keep it super simple until you intellectually understand. Like, the way I do real estate is so simple that other people who do real estate would probably look at it and go, well, you're not even trying. GP, just found you. Love that you share so much. Trying to learn to read charts like you. Well, that's going to take a while, bro. Let's see. I've lost you here. Huh. What is your interval period on your charts? I'm trading daily charts, so I'm not a day trader, but I'm trading the day. In other words, technically I'd be called what's called a position trader. I'm trying to find stocks that I think are undervalued. If you follow me on Instagram, I talk a lot about this. If you really want to trade and use my straight, buy my book. I promise you it's worth the money. I'm going to show you the 4 or 5 indicators I use. I'm going to teach you about support and resistance. I'm going to talk a little bit about portfolio management. But I personally will have 20, right now I have 42 open trades. Almost all of those, I'm down to a core position because I bought a lot of them at the low during the coronavirus. They've run up. The company's now overpriced. Facebook, fully valued. I put a big position on when it was low. When it's fully valued, I use a company called Morningstar, Tip Ranks, there's The Street. A lot of places can tell you, just like if you wanted to buy a car, you can find the value of the car. Kelley Blue Book. Well, they have the same thing for stocks. Now, will the stock get to that price? In the meantime, we got Mr. Market and Trump tweeting and Congress doing this and coronavirus, like all these things but there is a value on this company. And that's part of our edge. So like right now, I've been accumulating shares in Uber because it's worth $42. It's trading below that. Pfizer, AT&T. But I use the charts to help me determine, and it's not perfect, but I'm looking to buy in 2 spots. 1 on the breakout, meaning price is heading up, and 2, I'm buying on the bottom. So I'm trying to buy 2 extremes. The breakout, and then when it gets to the extreme, I want to be a seller. And my book will break that down. Yeah, AT&T is a great dividend stock. Now, some of these stocks, like in my buy and hold portfolio, I haven't even logged in today. Like, I don't have any money to do anything in there right now. So as I put money in, I check the charts, I see what's on sale, and I add to that stock. I log out. That's it. Nothing to do. I don't pay attention, Now, some of those stocks I also trade. So the ones that I trade, I'm really on top of. I'm watching it 2, 3, 4 times a day. I mean, at least in the morning. But the way I trade, you could just do it 1 time a day. In the evening, when you get home, you just look at the charts, make your plan. Next day, execute the plan. You go to work. Like, you're not sitting there staring at a computer all day, into affiliate marketing. Man, I'll tell you what makes the marketing. In the world we live in today, affiliate marketing, you really got to have a personal brand, in my opinion. Hell yeah, I bought Pfizer and Uber. Sorry, just had a phone call. I bought into Pfizer and Uber today. Pfizer, Uber, DraftKings, and one other. Yeah. Now, I haven't seen the charts since I came on here, so, maybe if I looked at them right now, I would change my mind. I like to see where's price in relation to the 20-day. So I could, in theory, like a stock, I could be a buyer one day, and the next day, if you asked me, I'd say no. I just mean that day, no, it's not in the right spot. I'm looking for 2 spots, extremely low or breaking out. So if it starts breaking out and then it turns around, I liked it yesterday, but I don't like it today. That doesn't mean I'm selling it. It just means I'm not buying it. Why? Because if it's going to go down, then I want to buy at the extreme low. Make sense? I want to buy extreme lows or extreme highs, or breakouts, I want to sell at extreme highs, if that makes sense. All that does for me is it gives me structure. It's not that if you bought yesterday, it's bad. I don't know. It just gives me rules to play by. And if you have rules to a game, the game gets a lot easier to play because it takes the stress off of the decision making. And half of the problem with stocks is people get emotional. That's why you see them going so high. Look at Roku today. It was up 10%. That's one we've been in. And there's people in my private trading club who trade with me who sold the whole damn thing. Why? There was no need to sell it. It's literally going our direction. It's working. But sometimes if you're new to trading, all of a sudden you have a big score, you want to take the money. Then you miss out on something. Go look at Shopify. It's gone straight up for 4 months, man. I took profits twice, and then now I'm just letting it run. So I have about 20 in my portfolio right now. Honestly, I would like to sell them, but they just keep going up, and when they finally stop going up, I'll close them out. Now, if I think there's room, or it's a really cool stock like Facebook, I'm not going to sell it all. I may just scale back to say $2,000 worth, and then just hold it. And then when it comes down again and the next stock market sell off and we go into what I call a stage 4 decline, I'm going to start putting it back on, right? So I'm just going to hold it. And then as it goes lower, I'm going to put it back on. When it goes up, I'm going to take it off, and I'll just sit and play this game for as long as they want to play the game. Like I'm in shop, a small position though, because I've already taken profits. Yeah, so it's a good problem to have. And then sometimes I'll have people like, well, I sold it. Why? Because I need money. Why? To buy other stocks. So you're selling a stock going up to buy a stock to hope it goes up. Like, this one's going up. You don't need to buy any others. Just let it run. So that's why you'll see in my, sell the win. That's so hard. It's so hard to sell, to sell losers and hold winners, because your instinct is, okay, I'm up big in Roku. I want to sell that so that I can buy more of my losers. It's so hard. So ANIP is one of my losers. They broke support yesterday. Looks like it's going even lower today. So I sold half the position yesterday. Why would I only sell half and not all? Looking at it now, you'd be like, wow, it would have been smarter to sell all. So if you looked at it today, you just say, well, it would have been smarter to sell all. Well, because I've been trading 21 years, and a lot of times they'll break support, and then the next day just come right back, and you end up getting whipsawed out. So I like to scale out. So as I'm wrong, I'll take shares off. And then eventually it'll stop and start to go sideways, and I'll start to put those shares back on. I only do that if I have a reason to believe that company's worth more. So as it goes up, I'll sell some shares. As it goes down the wrong way, I'll sell some shares. You know, but you got to be comfortable with losing on that. So I'm selling a loser, you know, so that I have money to add to Uber, Twitter, Facebook, Uber and Pfizer today are breaking out. They were when I came on anyway. I don't know if they still are. Yeah, I don't use hard stops, almost never. I will just look at it and go, oh shit, it broke support, and then I'll watch it. Now, if you do the way I'm talking, you have to be mentally prepared that if it really starts falling, you're gonna have to make a decision. But I like to wait till the close, man, if I can. I mean, if I'm not there, if I'm at work, you may have to use some hard stops. If you're going to use hard stops, you know what I would suggest? Use a hard stop on half. So if you bought 100 shares, put a stop on half. So if it breaks down, we're wrong, sell half. Now you have a smaller position. And as you go, if it keeps going lower, we can sell a little more. And because a lot of times it'll just turn right around because the company is valuable. And if it turns right around, we're still in it. I did that with Delta. And then when it came back, what I call back into the box, so you have it breaks support and then turns right around and comes back, I'll put that back on. Did I lose a little bit in the transaction? Yep. But I got peace of mind. And a lot of times it'll then rip and it'll make up for all that. You know, go look at Roku. Roku, I got in on a breakout. It ran up, missed my target by $1, pulled back to where we were, started to break down. I cut the position in half. It went down one day, turned right around back to where we were. I put it back on, and then now we're up $40 a share. Is that frustrating? Absolutely. Does that seem complicated? Maybe if you're new, but all of that happened over a 3-week period or 2-week period. So I bought, and then I took it back off, lost a little bit. I took half off. It ripped back higher, cool. I put it back on, kind of went sideways, and then it just took off. So just staying with the trade and not giving up on it. Why? Because I believe that Roku is worth $170. It was going the wrong way, so I had to downsize it. But that's all in my book, man. I don't like sitting just pitching my own book. But if you're going to be a new trader, believe me, you can buy a lot worse books than mine. Mine is the accumulate. I have hundreds of trading books, and this is what I settled on after reading all of those books. And I promise you're going to come away with. I've never had anyone ask for a refund. Never. Not on books. All right, man, you guys be good.